Hello folks, tonight we're diving headfirst into a topic that's a bit of a downer but also incredibly important: global poverty. It's 2025 and billions are still trapped in a cycle of deprivation. Can we actually imagine a world without poverty? Is it even possible? Economist Jeffrey Sachs believes it is. In his book, The End of Poverty, Sachs argues that we can eliminate extreme poverty in our lifetime. He lays out a bold vision, a roadmap, if you will, to lift everyone out of this quagmire. His optimism is infectious, but is it warranted? It's a question worth exploring because, frankly, the idea of ending poverty seems about as likely as finding a unicorn riding a hoverboard. But hey, stranger things have happened, right? Now, before you accuse me of being a heartless cynic, I genuinely hope Sachs is right. Who wouldn't want a world without poverty? But as with most things in life, the devil is in the details. So, what's Sachs' grand plan? Well, he basically argues that developed nations need to step up their game. We're talking about a significant increase in international aid, folks. This money would be used to invest in developing countries, particularly in crucial areas like infrastructure, education, and healthcare. Think about it: decent roads, reliable electricity, access to clean water, and basic healthcare. These are the building blocks of a functioning society. Without them, it's incredibly difficult for individuals to break free from the chains of poverty. Sachs isn't just talking about throwing money at the problem, though. He emphasizes the importance of targeted investments and sustainable solutions. He advocates for a big push, a concentrated effort to address multiple aspects of poverty simultaneously. Sounds great in theory, but does it work in practice? Hold that thought, folks, because we'll be getting into that very soon. Foreign aid. The very phrase can spark heated debates hotter than a jalapeno eating contest. Some argue it's a moral imperative, a lifeline for the world's poorest. Others claim it's a bottomless pit riddled with corruption and inefficiency, and you know what? They both have a point. There's no denying that aid has achieved some remarkable things. It's helped eradicate diseases, improve education, and save countless lives. But there's also no denying that aid has often been mismanaged, misused, and sometimes even downright counterproductive. Remember the time a well-meaning charity airdropped thousands of shoes into a remote village? Sounds nice, right? Except they dropped only left shoes. It's a hilarious anecdote, but it perfectly illustrates the complexities of aid. Good intentions don't always translate into positive outcomes. So where does this leave us? Is aid the answer to ending poverty? Or is it just a band-aid on a gaping wound? Section 4, Doubting Thomas's, Easterly, Moyo, and the Critics' Chorus. Now, Sachs isn't short of critics. Enter William Easterly, author of The White Man's Burden. He's like the Simon Cowell of development economics, blunt, cynical, and with a knack for crushing dreams. Easterly argues that large-scale aid programs simply don't work. He points to decades of failed initiatives as evidence. He believes that aid often props up corrupt governments and stifles local entrepreneurship. Ouch, that's got to sting. Then there's Dambisa Moyo, another prominent critic of traditional aid. In her book Dead Aid, Moyo argues that aid creates dependency and discourages self-reliance. She advocates for alternative approaches, such as promoting trade and investment. Now, I'm not saying Sachs is wrong and Easterly and Moyo are right, but their arguments highlight the complexities of the issue. It's not a simple equation of more money equals less poverty. There are deeper systemic issues at play. Section 5. Sachs's balancing act, capitalism with a human face. Here's where things get really interesting, folks. Sachs acknowledges the shortcomings of unfettered capitalism. He criticizes unfair trade practices, exploitative financial systems, and the growing chasm between rich and poor. He argues that globalization needs a human face. He calls for a more equitable global economic system, one that benefits developing countries and doesn't leave them trapped in a cycle of debt and dependence. But is this realistic? Can we really expect the very forces that have contributed to global inequality to suddenly embrace a more equitable system? It's a bit like asking a fox to guard the hen house, isn't it? Section 6. The government equation, a necessary evil or a force for good. Now, for the million-dollar question, what role should governments play in all of this? This is where the debate gets particularly heated. Sachs believes that strong, effective governments are crucial for development. He argues that governments should invest in education, healthcare and infrastructure, and create a level playing field for businesses. However, critics argue that too much government intervention stifles innovation and creates inefficiencies. They advocate for a more hands-off approach, allowing market forces to drive economic growth. It's a classic dilemma, the tension between the visible hand of the state and the invisible hand of the market. Finding the right balance is like trying to juggle chainsaws while riding a unicycle. Incredibly difficult and potentially disastrous if you get it wrong. Section 7, the road ahead, paving the path to a poverty-free world. So can we actually end global poverty in our lifetime? Honestly, folks, I don't have a crystal ball, but here's the thing. Whether we achieve this ambitious goal or not depends on the choices we make today. Yes, there are valid criticisms of Sachs's approach. Yes, there are no easy answers. But doing nothing is simply not an option. The moral imperative is too great. We need a multi-pronged approach, one that involves increased and more effective aid, fairer trade practices, responsible investment, and yes, good governance. It's about creating an environment where people have the opportunity to lift themselves out of poverty. Ending global poverty won't be easy. It'll require a sustained, coordinated effort from governments, businesses, NGOs, and individuals. It'll require innovation, collaboration, and a healthy dose of realism. But most importantly, it'll require us to remember our shared humanity. We're all in this together, folks, and building a world without poverty is a goal worth striving for, even if we never fully achieve it. And on that uplifting note, I'll leave you to ponder the complexities of this issue.